Alright, take two. Howdy Skia. I've watched both of these through the whole way. I've got some notes taken down, which is new, but I'm enjoying that, so I'm more prepared for this than the previous two I've done for other people. Now, the things I want to point out most, there's obviously positioning. You know, that's a big one for pretty much everyone. I want to say just position better, find out what works, what doesn't. But for you, I think the things you could most benefit from are an increase in aggression and confidence in your playstyle. You actually do, like, let me drag this back a little bit. You actually want to do that. You want to, like, you actually do want to carry the team though, and it's different in Overwatch. You can't do it alone per se sometimes, although you also kind of can. Like people who say you can't, just I don't know. Maybe they actually cannot. But I think as long as you can win 1v1s in the game, you can actually just carry. If you can 1v1 everyone on the enemy team, unless they're working as a super cohesive unit, you actually just can win the game. It's pretty easy. But we go a little bit further. You're getting ready to come out. On hardware, you talk a little bit about your hardware here and how you want to upgrade. I don't know how far away you are from that, but I would suggest just turning everything down to low. Obviously, I don't know if you have already. It just helps for the game. I know low models removes some of the bushes, or even on Hollywood, there's those chairs at the kind of further back high ground on the first point. Those chairs are gone if you have lower models. And I know on at least if you're on higher detail and you shoot one of those chairs, your bullets don't go through it. But they just don't exist for lower tiers. Maybe that's been patched up. I don't know. But and yeah, 70s 80 is definitely pretty high up there for your temp. But 70 is definitely fine, depending on your processor. You know, you don't want some processors. You don't want to go above like 65. And so you get out here, it's going good. There's no real reason to turn around on that. It's just a tiny thing. Your team should get it. You just keep looking forward. You might get a team get picked. Now, one thing, this ties in with aggression, but see here how you just kind of, you hold your shield up and you block it all, which is not good, per se, because a Junkrat bomb is singularly, is probably not going to kill anyone. It's not a huge chance of like hitting someone. You know, there's a chance of the grenade hitting someone, but theoretically your Mercy should be able to heal them up as long as they don't get too hit from that soldier. But it's okay to just drop it for a second to let those like sideways Junkrat bombs go through you, or to maybe even catch one on your face for your support. And that functions doubly since it saves 120 life on your shield, right? But it also lets you gain more ground, because when your shield is down you can walk a little bit. It's not a ton of ground in that scenario, but just something to be aware of. And now here's the main problem. You are walking forward and then you hit this point where you stop. Oh shit, too far back. Like you hit right there and then boom, as soon as you start moving back, you stop all aggression. But what you need to do, what you just absolutely need to do, is instead just walk your shield up to that Ryan's shield. You need to make something happen, because if you stand here at choke, I don't believe you have a soldier. Yeah, you have a Widowmaker and a soldier, and they have a Junkrat and a soldier, so they're going to win the shield war every time. And, I mean, each team has a Roadhog, but Roadhog is another big shield breaker. But they are going to win this shield war pretty much every time it happens. So what you have to do is you just have to walk up to that Ryan and fight him. Because otherwise you just end up wasting time out here. And it's like, someone ended up dying anyways, but it'd be better if like you went in and tried to make a push and everyone died, because if everyone on your team dies, like that, yeah, that's bad on attack, but it generally means you're gonna get a couple of picks off, and then if you can, if like everyone dies and you keep doing these 6-man pushes, it usually isn't enough to wear them down with the spawn advantage. Hollywood's got kind of a longer spawn, but if you walk in, I mean, And that's the worst case scenario. All 6 of you die in this forward push. A lot of the times you just walk in and the push just wins the game. The enemy team just doesn't know what to do with it. They just lose. You just walk up and hit him right now, actually. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could have charged that. You should have charged that. I mean, but you don't even need to charge if you don't want to, like, waste your charge. You could have just walked up and hit him. Yep. And there's no reason to really back up there. Like, as far as you are, like, you don't want to just let Hog dump his right click into your shield. But if if you stuck up right by this little, like, edge of the wall here, you could, like, peek out, fire strike, bring your shield up for a little bit, maybe let Soldier get a little bit of poke out, bring it back. You just don't have to be so far back. And now Mercy's res people, and you aren't up in a position really to... And I mean, like, obviously, you know, just going into your options is at a bad time happens to everyone. But even if you weren't going into your options, you really wouldn't have been in a place to capitalize on that because you're too far back. And as a tank, you really got to come up and create the space. This is you know, bad charge, you know, happens to the best of us. But now here, like, Mercy kind of gets baited into you, and so you keep around with her for a minute. But the Mercy's about to die. And then once she does die, you kind of sit here for a little bit. It's better to just, like, walk up. Like, see, you're walking back, and if you're going to be walking, you might as well be walking up. Because, like, you kind of want to die to get this push back on track, to get a new one going. And something I didn't mention but do have written down is that this is also kind of another thing that just like as well with aggression, you kind of want to have a plan or an objective that you're always pushing towards. It's not as true on defense because you know it is a more passive playstyle, but here on attack, like you always just kind of want to be moving forward. Sometimes like and you want to move as far forward as you can, and that's part of a part of learning the aggression, you know, is going way too far forward and dying and being like, okay, well, maybe I can't do that. And so bring it back a little bit. Oh, nope, still die there. Well, we'll bring it back a little bit. And then eventually you'll be able to get to the point, you'll be able to know the limits of your aggression, which is really important. And like having an objective, even if your objective right there was just kill Junkrat, you just think to your mind, I'm going to kill that Junkrat. That fucker is dying. Like, you might have been able to kill him. As it stands, you just kind of stood in the back and wasted some time and didn't kill anybody. And yeah, I think you should stay Reinhardt. Obviously, they have a Reinhardt. Reinhardts are good. Shatter's good. Right-clicking Shatter is really important. Yeah, you just walk up and hit him. Yeah, he didn't really have anyone. You should have just been walked up, hitting him. And then if he tries to hit you, your team shoots him. If your team, you know, like, if he doesn't drop his shield, you just keep hitting him until he's dead, or maybe charge him into a wall or something. She's going in. You need to go in. You're, like, way not in. Once you see her going in for that, you pretty much know she's probably going to go for an ult. Even if she's not, she's your Mercy. You got to be with her. And sometimes it's better to take the suboptimal position, but with your team. I'm sure you know that. There's a little bit of an aggressive charge. Again, you like even just in that scenario, you're kind of like hanging back. You want to walk right up next to their tanks. You want to give Roadhog a little bit of space, but once you bait out the hook with the shield, and you can kind of like, if you don't get too close to him in the first place, then generally he can't really get too far close to you. Like he, you know, if you move backwards, you aren't moving as fast as forward. But if basically you can get to a point where you know the distance that you can stand from a Roadhog, where if he tries to chase you to get up to where you can put his gun through your shield and shoot you, he'll be like royally out of position or whatever. And here, let me just go back to kind of see what I mean. Like, you don't need to be by this bush. You need to be up by like their bush, or like right now it needs to be like maybe by the car even. It's just like farther forward, just to kind of really give space for your team. And that's what. Because, like, as Reinhardt, you know, like, if I'm playing Soldier, I'm almost never going to stand behind Reinhardt. If I'm playing McCree, it's a little different because you have less range. But, like, say Soldier, I don't want to stand behind Reinhardt's shield. I want to be up on that roof. Oh, I shouldn't be pointing at my screen. That's not helpful. I want to be up on, like, this thing And I want my whole team to be fucking brawling them on the point while I just get to sit up there and go pew 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 pew. And like, and since I'm in that scenario, like, yeah, I don't have Rhine Shield, but I can just walk back on the high ground, and then they can't shoot me, and then they'll turn really quickly and go to shoot someone else, and I'll come back, and you just shoot them in the head. So you want to be brawling as the tank character, and part of that is actually brawling as a tank character is part of having confidence in your team, because this won't work as well if your team can't do anything, right? Like if your team doesn't shoot the targets that you're like, yeah, if you're making space and attacking, and like all the other teams could be, really heavily focused on you because you're right in the middle of them. If you're like that is really trusting your team. You got to trust that the heals are going to be there. You got to trust that the damage is going to be there. It's a scary place to be, but it definitely works. And the Winston pick is not bad. I think you could have gone Reinhardt. I don't think there was anything wrong about Reinhardt the pick. It's just how you're playing the Reinhardt. And it's even harder with Winston because you don't really have any distance heals except for Mercy. But you can still work around it. You get the jumps off. Right now, though, you're going in with not full life, and that's kind of a death sentence as Winston. And it's not even a death sentence. You can do it. But as long as you're not willing to throw your life away, even if you are willing to throw your life away, you can only do as much damage as Winston as you have health, basically. So what you probably wanted to do is go, instead of just straight into the fight like that, go back to where that big health pack is. And that's another thing. I don't see you go for health packs too terribly often, but just like try and be self-sufficient with your health. If you notice where you're low on health, make your first objective, as long as it's not too much, but being at like 300 HP as Winston is too much health con. You want to make your first objective to find health packs and get further up, at least until you have a little bit of armor. You go in here, you're kind of just like zapping Reinhardt. You really want to, again, choose a target, pick them, stick on them, try and kill them. Here it should be Mercy. And I think you had jump up there and may have been able to jump out, but Soldier might have killed you too. Not much you could do there. But, I mean, Mercy's, like, chilling in that little hallway there. So if you, like, run up that hallway, and assuming you have bubble, they have a hog, right? So you kind of bubble into that doorway so that hog has to come up through the bubble to get you as you chase Mercy. And then if Mercy comes back down and flies back at hog or Soldier down there, you can kind of, like, zap her a little bit while backing up and then just go back up onto the high ground and get ready for another jump onto Mercy. And just, like, kind of distract the shit out of them. If she just continues to go up, like, back up the stairs onto the terrace, basically, then what you can do is follow her while kind of jumping to make sure her hog doesn't headshot you. And then you just kill her. And, like, it is good to kill Soldier, but always better to kill Mercy. Mercy, the supports as Winston should be your primary target, since you really can't out-heal the supports as damage. Unless your team's giving you some extra damage. I just mean for, like, you by yourself killing people, which is possible, and you should always seek to be doing, as long as you can get out alive, or the positive trade. Alright, that was good, that was good. Let's move on to the next one. Escape real quick. This the one, yeah? Yeah, I can roll. Alright. So, a couple of things here with the Soldier gameplay I'd like to show you. Shit, is my OBS still going? And see, the fair's not bad here, actually. And that's another thing that kind of plays into the confidence thing. I know you can be a good Pharah. Like, you play her a fair bit. Like, I feel like you understand her decently well. Pretty well. I think you should just have more confidence picking with who you want to pick, You should just be like, yeah, I'm picking fucking Pharah, dude. I'm going to fucking destroy. Yeah, it is kind of egotistical to do that, but here, just consider just consider being egotistical a tool in your arsenal of getting better. Having that just underlying confidence that you can walk in and shit on the enemy team when it's backed up by pretty much nothing is like, I feel like part of that feeds into the aggressive mindset, which which I think you need to cultivate. It's good. Talking to team. Switch to Soldier. Switching to Soldier is not bad, but He's also getting nerfed here soon, so you might as well use him. And now, you encounter the first fatal flaw in your soldier gameplay here pretty early on. So you see those Pharah rockets. And he calls it out. Reinhardt calls it out. And as Soldier 76, your primary job, your objective, your main objective, if they have a Pharah, is to kill the Pharah. So you, like, it doesn't matter, choke. Roadhog and Reinhardt can hold the choke. You're the only one who can turn to the right, run up, and kill Pharah. And honestly, the only reason I've been picking up Widowmaker in like quick play and trying to learn that is because I would encounter Masters level Pharahs and above, who it would, especially with Mercy, like it just became impossible to kill them with Soldier or McCree. But if the Pharah, that's due to how far they keep out of your damage range. But like Pharah here is like super out of position, because she either needs to be Pharah, and this kind of this is a critique I'd like to make of your Pharah gameplay as well that happens later on. So I know it's kind of jumbled up, but like Pharah's got to either be really far back or flanking in. I mean, and I know you know how to do the flank in at the right time. I remember actually when we were doing those like 3v4s and I was playing McCree, and like we'd get into a brawl, and like as the brawl was going down, you'd like fly in from the left and murder us. And all I can remember thinking is like, what do I do against that? And the answer is pick Widow, scan the skies for Pharah, and murder her, and do nothing else. Or if you're playing Soldier, like you just have to be watching out for her. She instantly needs to become your first priority and first target. On here, this is just kind of bad positioning. You wanted to immediately run. Sometimes it's better to lose the damage and the presence just to run up the stairs and get on the high ground. As Soldier, you have to be on high ground all the time, or you're not getting your most effectiveness. If you want to stand on the ground and shoot things, play McCree, because he works much better on the ground. He's got the flashbang, and like Soldier can position onto the high ground pretty easily because with his run. And now, I get being mildly frustrated at this, as you're about to be. I'd actually get really frustrated because I really hate nothing more than when someone's like passive aggressive and not saying what they want, especially in these games. Because what he's not saying is like, oh, you failed to kill Pharah. You kind of got to translate it yourself if you don't want to get upset. Is I need, or like, Soldier, will you please kill Pharah? You're kind of just like taking what they say, pretending they were nice and polite, and then being like, yeah, that's a good idea. Because you honestly really should. I mean, I didn't really see Pharah much at all. And, like, she's got to be your first priority, especially with Ana's nerf. Like, you're the one who takes her out as the hit scan. And now, again, you're standing up here, but you got to go get the high ground. And you do kind of get the high ground, but you sort of stick to this left high ground area up there. When you kind of want to take not the really tall one, but the one to the right of that, which has the bridge, because you're closer to the stairs, so you hear things coming up. You're less likely to get jumped on. This has a decent angle on it for the first little bit of the push when they're coming through the gate. That was a nice kill. But like once they start to keep pushing forward, it's not so useful. Like, see, they're kind of in weird spots on you, and if you ulted from here, like as you from there, I mean, as you do later on. I thought you were gonna ult there. My bad. But just try not to jump off too much unless you're chasing down the last couple of kills, because of reasons like this. Now, and you could have ulted there, but where you, again, need to ult is to the right of the little tower thing. It has a much better vantage point of the entire way. Or alternatively, instead of that right area to the next to the tower, go along the bridge and take that far right area, which has a decent view. It works better when they are coming closer to the turn. But honestly, you don't have Ana, never mind. And you just gotta not jump down as much. Honestly, sometimes it is just worth it to hit Q and kill Pharah. Like, especially if the Pharah is being kind of... Sometimes it's not... It's just, like, so hard to kill the Pharah. She's so irritating. It's not too bad if you hit Q at various times. Another thing with soldier that I've noticed a lot is you don't have a ton of crosshair placement. Like on Roadhog, you gotta hit headshots. He's got like the fattest head in the game. They're super easy, and like I know like hitting headshots seems kind of hard. I know it was for me for a while, but basically if you just like whenever you center your cursor, just like raise it up, just like a little bit, and you'll get used to like how much you raise it up as you need to do this, but you'll just start to get to a point where your cursor just like naturally rests at head level, and then it's kind of just like shooting them regularly, but you also get headshots. You don't really want her to be above you like that, because if she's above you, she's kind of going to win. It's a lot easier for her to win that, as you're seeing, because you kind of gotta like look down and then look back up if you want to move correctly. It's mostly just some accuracy issues, and you gotta hit headshots though. If you're not hitting headshots as soldier, it's really hard. I mean, it can work sometimes. Like we all won that game at soldier where it's like fucking 32% accuracy or whatever, and you're not sure you ever hit a headshot. But it's just not like it's not about like the goal is to get to a point when you play these is like not to climb, but to get to a point where you're familiar enough with the mechanics that you can try and dramatically impact any game you're playing on. And like you got bronze elims, that's not great, but it's like you have Sombra on your team, so and it's like she can kind of kill. And they are being kind of douches about it, but at the same time, you are playing soldier and really got to kill things. Yeah, I mean, and it's literally, it fucking blew my mind. But you just literally like take your crosshair, move it up just a little bit, and get used to just moving it up all the time. Because you come out base not aiming out ahead, like when you first spawn. If you raise it up, it'll generally, often, be nearer to head level than it would otherwise be. And then it's kind of hard when you're shooting to consciously think about aiming up, and that's why you kind of want to just get it as close as possible with your crosshair placement beforehand. Not sure what was the best place to be standing there. Probably bridge. Probably still bridge. If you can get kills on bridge. Headshots. I shouldn't be just be saying headshots. But, again, you need to pick a high ground, stick to it, and do a different one. Bumps and then. Yeah, well, I see now, and you probably would have lived if you hadn't walked in front of the Rhine Shield. If you're going to stand behind the Rhine Shield, you need to be behind the Rhine Shield. Otherwise, you need to be up on that high ground on the very far back. It's like just within Soldier's damage range. And honestly, I kind of prefer McCree for this point, because I don't feel as bad standing right next to the team. You feel less naked. But you can just stand on that high ground back there and shoot. And just, like... And then if your team pushes up like this, and so you won't be able to really see them up here from way back there, it's okay to take that high ground up there. You kind of deny it to enemy soldier. If he wants to come up, he's got to fight you at a low ground. It makes it easier for you to get headshots, you know. You can retreat if you need to. It's just a good place to be, and you have a pretty wide view, open the door, or a pretty good view of the door from there. And then, you know, if they start to get up there and contest you, the best part about soldier is you just jump off the moment you start to feel even a little threatened, run all the way back to the next safe cover. And I mean safe, like safe on high ground, boom. And then you just keep shooting. And so as soldier, you always want to be moving, because you don't want them to be able to expect where you're going to be coming from. And soldier just can move so fast. He's like, as long as there are stairs, he can get fucking anywhere. Yeah, that's damage. It's a huge pain. I mean, when you're playing DPS at work, it's really helpful to have someone queuing with you, just so they can kind of like think about things like that. Because when you're just trying to put your cursor on the enemy, it's like really hard to think about that. I've lost so many games where I just come back, you know, and think that, like, the minute I lose and I'm not playing, I just like realize, oh, we should have done X. But it's really hard to think about when you're playing damage. And like this is a pretty. Oh no! What did I just do? Fuck! Let me get back here. Is this it? Oh no, this is way back. Shit. Yeah. And so that was kind of like a. Anyways, you saw where you were like kind of lower than the stairs, shooting at soldier. And he had the high ground on you. That's just a bad place to be. You don't really ever want to be there. You want to be on those back stairs, or back on the It's to your right of where you're standing right now. Yeah, up those stairs right there to the right, and then up onto that thing. If you had ulted from there, it probably would have been way hot. Instead, you kind of just like run into the middle of the enemy team, and it's like even nano boost, like that's not enough. You're gonna die. But if you're on high ground, they can't do anything about it, and they're scared and they run away, and you pick kills, and then their push is disrupted. So yeah, high ground, high ground, high ground. Don't jump off the high ground. It's super important. It's super easy to like do it too. You want to get like that's wrong aggression. Aggression in the wrong way. A soldier, like the proper aggression is to be as forward as you can be while still being on high ground. You know. And sometimes there's no proper high ground, and you'll have to take suboptimal positionings just because you know they're focusing down that position or whatever. But like high ground is your #1 objective if Pharah's not in the game. It's like goes Pharah and then high ground and then supports. And you guys managed to hold this one. You back up. I think you're sensing the ult. That's a good thing to do. But now you wouldn't have to back up if you're on the high ground, and you'd actually be able to see all of them right now if you're on the high ground. And you gotta think about who to shoot first though. It can't be Roadhog. In this scenario, it needed to be Anna. Or that is still alive soldier. I would suggest Anna just because she's really hard to fucking hit, right? She's just got the stupidest hitbox unless she's lying on the ground. I mean, you guys still kill her and kill the soldier. It's just like, you know, these choices can matter in other games, and so it's always good to be aware of those. And not every context will be like that one. But you guys get it, and as you see here, you got Pharah. I like it. Now, there's two like really good flank routes here for Pharah to go, and you don't really take either of them. Like you're kind of floating around here, but if you go up left over that building, I mean you don't even need to like. You can just get behind him and stand on the point. Like, you're basically just being a flanker. Like Pharah's a flanker on this point, or she stands right behind this building and shoots rockets, and she like stays up as far as like high as she can. She just peeks rockets every now and then because they have a Torbjorn turret down there. So you just wanted to be like, yeah, you just wanted to hug that building's cover and peek rockets and go back into cover while your rocket cooldown's coming down. Look out, peek again. I mean, you still got the turret, but if like they had like competent hit scans aiming at you during those times, you'd have been a lot more vulnerable. That's good. You need to be in the air. You need to be farther forward, or further back. Like you got to be super far forward, and so you're just like on top of them, blowing them up. Or you got to be like so far back that Torbjorn's turret can't even hit you really, which is harder to do on this map, admittedly. But I think you could also spend more time in the air. It's not as aggressive. Well, I mean, you also weren't just aiming. You just weren't aiming at the Pharah really ever. And not from a good enough position where you wouldn't be contested by other people. So, I mean, on one hand, yeah, no heals. On the other hand, just take high ground. Yeah, you should be getting above them. Like, there's no... Like, if you're gonna just sit on the ground, you should play soldier. But, like, you don't need to be on the ground, you know? Like, you can... Especially now that their Widow's dead. I mean, if they have a Widow, your #1 goal for Pharah should really just kind of be to, like, E yourself onto the Widow, you know, and just kill her. And then... Because you can kind of play that poke game, but if the Widow's good, then you'll lose. So you just kind of want to be on top of her and make it too hard for her to do anything. Like here, there's Widow. You can shoot rockets at her, and you can kind of like try and make her move. But like if she's, sometimes it can just be better to like conk over to her, shift up in the air, or maybe not. You know, like you play more Widow than I do. Maybe conk shifting in the air makes it too easy for you to headshot because you're in that little path. Maybe shift conking, it'd be better to do it. Either way, just getting close to her. The closer you are to Widow, the less dangerous she is. And you don't have any damage fall off, but yours takes time of travel and hers doesn't, and that's just a big enough advantage that it's really hard to win that. Like, an equal Pharah and an equal Widowmaker, the Widowmaker should win every time from a distance. This is good, and you were feeling it. I could tell, dude. You were feeling the aggression, man. And, like, that's okay, dude. It's totally good to go out on things like these. You know, like, that's the only way you'll learn that it won't work. But I could just feel that you were feeling that aggression. But you want to save your ults, obviously, for when the payload is closer to you in that scenario. Or when you've taken out the Widow or have a Zarya bubble or whatever. Like I'm not trying to... Like you know how many times I'll fucking hit Q as Genji or something and just be like, oh, that was retarded. Like, everyone does these things. It's just like, you don't want to do them. Yeah, Pharah is decently weak on this point. But again, if you just go in on him, you know, no big deal. But you gotta go in or hang further back. Like, instead of that corner, maybe you gotta, like... You can't really see a whole ton. You can see Reinhardt, though. Like, you wouldn't be able to see their squishies, but you could see Reinhardt. But if you're gonna shoot their squishies... And so what I'm saying is that either you gotta, like, hang back at that previous corner and shoot the Reinhardt shield, or if you're gonna go for their squishies, you need to jump on top of them and just all in them. Your plan of attack is go in, kill their squishies, and if someone kills you, fuck it. I killed the squishies, totes worth it. Very aggressive. And I don't know if you got to read the end conversation that we had with Alice or not about aggression in the Overwatch chat, but like, aggression is just, if you can properly execute aggression, it is better than passivity all the time, even on defense. If you can, and part of, you know, properly executing it is using the proper amount. So on defense, you have to use less aggression, but if you can be as aggressive as possible on defense, it's better than not being. You'll just create more space, put more pressure on them, make it harder for them to function. And I say, like, you're spamming, I need healing, but it's like, just go get a health pack, dude. It's like, I don't know, I very rarely am waiting for the healers to heal me if I'm playing like Pharah or Genji or Soldier or whatever. Because you can just go find a health pack. There's tons of them, give you a shitload of life. It's super easy. Like, by now, you could have already gotten a health pack, and, well, not by now, but let's give it a second here. Like, you could have just, like, there's a health pack right behind you currently, over to the right by that right door. Like, if you just go walk up and get that, you could have already been firing rockets off. Like, you're not building ult right now. You could be building ult if you had just gone and gotten that health pack. And building ult is your #1 priority. Usually. Well, I've given you a lot of #1 priorities, right? But these are all priorities you need to balance with each other. But, I mean, building an ult is a huge priority. And sure, like, you're going to build support ults, but honestly, like, if you're a nano-boosted Pharah, or just, like, a damage-boosted Pharah, or just a regular Pharah with some team help, like, from a Fire Strike or some shit, you can blow through a Zenyatta ult. Like, it just will happen. Like, you can just kill people in the Zenyatta ult, he doesn't heal enough. So, like, gosh, I charged up Zenyatta's ult, or I charged up Lucio's ult. You could probably get 2 or 3 kills off. I mean, if you got a proper ult on some Lucio targets. You know, maybe not, actually. I'm actually just thinking of a Graviton in that scenario. Still, though, ults are important. But, not, I mean, obviously, you probably know that. Yeah, that was a pretty good conk. That was really risky though. If you just turn to the right a little bit, and then, you know, minor things here. I'm just trying to point out everything, no matter how minor I see. But if you had turned and kind of conked to your right, you would have flown. You could have flown behind this little like pillar thing. It just would have been safer. You only barely missed it. Then yeah, Widowmaker snipes you. You have to go on her, or you have to stay way back, and you can't really stay way back in this part of Eichenwald to where she is. So you just switch or die arc deep. I don't know if you play any flankers. Winston. I mean, obviously you play Winston, right. But like, I don't know if you play Tracer or Genji. You know, if you can just casually pick up Genji, you know, that's never bad. I don't know how you feel about Genji though, or playing him or any of those things. But he just takes care of Widows pretty easy. It turns it really into a skill matchup. Nice, you're poking her down. Just try to be more careful with your reloads. Also, I think I wrote this down, but I haven't mentioned it yet. I think you should turn off a bloom on Soldier. I don't. I once you get the feel for the bloom, which you'll kind of will just whether you hit or miss it. It honestly just kind of gets in the way. You kind of just want to know where your dot is. For me personally, your crosshair is, and I don't know. You should at least try it. I'm not saying it's better or anything. I just think it clutters less and makes it easier to aim. And also, just try and burst more the 4-round burst or whatever. Like we spend a lot of time seeing your like crosshair way bloomed out, and that's not always a good thing. That's actually always a bad thing. Sorry. I'm not gonna mince words. But yeah, it was like you did pretty good this round, but I want to say that I don't feel like you had a super big impact on the game you were playing. You know, I think that you're not aggressive maybe because you're not as confident, but you should just be confident so you can be more aggressive so you can have a bigger impact. Because I don't see you as a particularly unskilled player. But like, but no, like, see, watching the way you play, it's like you gotta make plays and play a little bit safer with your soldier positioning, you know. And I think you totally can make plays, dude. Just keep testing the limits of your aggression. You're gonna die a lot if you do, like, just a lot. I die all the time, dude. I have so many deaths in Overwatch. But like, that's how you learn the very limits of your aggression. And I think that once you start to learn that, you know, get your aim down a little bit, work on that cursor placement like I was telling you. Seriously, once you start doing headshots, you just start shitting on kids, dude. It's fucking great. And yeah, I think if you just work on those, like, master next season, dog. Like, for real. I hope you enjoyed this, man. Peace out.